Alright, so this is the best picture I can get for you of the layout of this jacket. Now, this was no picnic to try and see how to make it, so unfortunately I can't give you another size. I can only give you the one size because this has taken me forever to try and figure out. I should have done a totally different design, but I didn't. I wanted to make a kind of a jacket that opens up in the front, so therefore I got stuck on this. So if you are wanting to make yours bigger, the only thing I can suggest you do is use bigger yarn, and thicker yarn with a bigger crochet hook. And where we've joined them over here, I've joined with a single crochet. You could join it with a double crochet or a treble, and it'll give you some more height. It'll make your garment bigger, so that's what you can do. If you're wanting to make it smaller, the only thing you could do here is to use a thinner crochet hook and a thinner yarn, and to make your actual motifs. So that's the only other scenario that I can give you. Now, to lay your project out, I do have a graph of it that I will show you, but this is the way you're going to be crocheting it. Now, if you want to make yours longer, you would just have to add an extra motif on each of these going down, and that will make yours longer. But I don't think I want to fool around anymore with mine. I think it's the right length. Now, when you actually start crocheting, if I was you, I would make one long strip first. So I would make one of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make one strip of 6. Okay, so make one strip and then you start joining it, and join it exactly the way I have it here. You start with this one, and I have shown you on the graph how to draw, which petals to join, but I do give you 2 rules that you need to follow as well. So yeah, then you would put these ones in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then do this one and put them exactly where they are. Now, the only one that's got an extra petal joined is over here, and I've put it on my on the drawing for you. That one over there and that one over there, you're going to be joining. You'll be joining an extra one, so you've got to join that one there, and you're going to be joining this one over here. So that's the only difference in your joins, is doing that one and that one. Okay, so you're going to, I haven't actually joined mine. I've just pinned it there, so I'm just going to go back and sew mine. So I'm not doing it, so I'm just going to sew those two together. Now this is your front and your back. Now what you're going to do is you flip it over. So once you've done this, you've done it exactly, it's probably better to go in lines, because as you see they go this way, so it gets very confusing. Go in your line like this. That's going to be your best. Join them like this. Then what you do is you're going to be flipping over these two. These two form your front. Alright, so I flipped it over and these are forming your front now. So these two, I just don't have them laid out properly. You do have one extra in here, which is in the back, which is fine. It works out. So you just flip over these two and these two. This is your armhole over here. So this is where your armhole is going to be. These have to get crocheted together, and I've shown you on the graph, and then I'll actually do this with you. And you're doing more petals on here. You're doing these 3. Same on this side. You're joining 3 of the petals on there instead of just 2. That's your only variation, is there and there. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'll show you now how we just join these ones on. But that's really all that you're doing for this part of your jacket. So go ahead and do that. And then, as I say, this forms your armhole. And we'll have to come in here and we'll be making something for the back of our jacket. And we're going to do something on the front here. So go ahead and do that so long, and then I'll meet you back here. Alright, so to make this jacket, this is the little drawing that I've drawn for you. This is for the front, this is the front, this is the front, this is where you flip it over. So those two get flipped over. This is the back, the back, the back, the back, the back, and this is where you flip the other one over. So this is all in one. I've shown you exactly which petals to add to join together. It's not the best drawing in the sense of it being so nice and neat, but it's the best that I could do. So, and as I say, this part flips over there. Now, what I've done here is these three get, when you flip it over, these three get attached to these three when it's got a little cross, and these three with the crosses get attached to these three with a little cross there. These two get attached and these two get attached, but just together. This is going out of your pattern, so it's only these two that are going out the pattern. So just be aware. So now I want to show you how to join. Now you want to put your next one next to it. Okay, so you've got your straight stripe and now you want to fold. So now we've got to add on our join. Now this is very important. As your flower lies, this, remember, you've got to have 3 there and you've got to have 3 here, because these would be the other 2 that would be joined. Okay, now when you're joining, I'm going to be joining on just to this one. Your right side flower uses 1 petal. Okay, these 2 are going to be used for one that came next to it. So always just remember, your right hand petal, you're only using 1 petal, and then you're going to use these 2. Then you've got the right hand petal for your next one, plus the other 2 that you use. Okay, so don't be confused with this. It's really not hard. It's just, you just have to know. This, your right petal, you only use 1, and then your left one you use 2. And that's the format that you're going to be using throughout your joinings. And I'll show you a different join as well, but this is your next one. So yeah, you've got your straight stripes, so now we've got to put on our one. That's how you put them, but now you're still going to be able to get another one on here. But I just want to show you the concept of how we're joining. So you're going to get this one on and you're going to use these 2 there, but you will be getting another flower on over here. But I don't want to put that one on yet. I want you just to see the whole concept of what you're having to do. 1 here and 2 on this one. You see, then you've got the 1 left for the right hand side, and then it would be 2 from this side. So that's what you've got to know. So now it's probably better to start off with your first flower, because you don't want to run out of petals to use. So anyway, I'm just using my first one, and I'm going to just go into just the one, not those 2, just this right hand one. So I go under again and I go into this stitch with a single crochet, and then 2 singles in the first motif, 1, 2, and then 1 again in this blue one, and then come all the way down. We're going all the way down. That's 1, 2, 7. Okay, so I've come all the way down. Now I've got to come across to this. I went all the way down. Now I've got to come across to this petal, go into your 4th one, or the one that's right before you started making your bigger motif, your bigger stitch. Okay, so then you're just going to go up your petal, and then you're going to join on. Okay, remember, you do your 7 and then you join, and now I'm going to be joining onto these 2, and then I'll have this one left because that's my other petal there. So then you just leave this one. So these 2 will be the next 2 over here. Okay, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It's just initially that it might be a little bit confusing, but it's really not. If you can understand the concept where you just need to do the one on the right. I'm messing up my stitch. 1, 2, and back into this one. And as I say, I went into that one, skip one, and I go into the next one. And these are all single crochets, and I come back and come all the way down my stitch. 1, 2, I come all the way down my petal. 3, 7, 4. Okay, and then I go across into this one. Let's go in here. 6 and 7. And 7. And then you can see now, so you can see I've just used the one from there, and I'm going to be doing those 2. and then this one is left because it's joined on over there. Okay, so I'm going to join it onto here. And this is important. You actually you need to join it like this, the way I'm showing you, because else it's going to leave either too big a gap or something's not going to work. Okay, and then we do 2 in the top. 1, 2, and then 1 on this side again. Let's go in there, and then we're going to come all the way down our yellow flower again. And you'll see then that's your very first join. That's what it's going to look like. Then I want to show you how to join more than these petals at once. It depends on how you join yours as to what situation you're going to find yourself in. But I want you to see all the joins. Just go down here. Okay, so now you can see this is the straight stripe that I made, the straight strip that I made. And I've joined this one now on to these two. Now I'm going to be putting another one on here, which I will do, and I'll show you how to do that one. But so now that all I have to do now is complete this flower over here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish mine. So this is your very first step. As I say, once you've got your straight stripe, do this one, and then we're going to put the other one over here. Now, the one thing that I want to explain to you, because this is a little bit tricky, I'll be honest, adding your motifs when you're not coming in the same way all the time is a little bit tricky. The biggest thing that you're going to have to remember, and I'm going to try and explain it to you the best I can, when you're joining your motif, so what I'm telling you now, you use it in say you've got a motif you have to put in somewhere. This is the way that you would do it. You have to always remember that you're having 2 with 3 and then 2 and 3. Okay, so in other words, whichever 2 I've used here, I have to use the opposite 2 here, which means, so if I use these 2, I've got to have 3 in between, which means these would be the next 2 that would be opposite, and then I've got 3 over there. You see what I'm saying? So if I've already got 2 joined, the opposite 2 would be where I have 3 on this side and 3 on this side. So for example, I join 2 there, so it's like, okay, which are the opposite 2 over here? Well, if I join these 2, I would have 3 on this side and I'd have 3 on that side, so these 2 have to be the opposite. This is very important. It's really important for you to understand how to join them, and if you can grasp this, because even I'm at times have to go back to this concept and say, okay, now the way to join it is to find the opposite, have 3 there, 3 there, so this is the opposite. So why I'm telling you that, and I'll show you a few more examples. So for example, if I'm joining a motif in here, I'd have to look at this and say, okay, now which petals am I using? For example, if I'm going to join this one, well, I can see that those 2 are used, which means there are 3 here. These 2 have to stay together. Those 2 stay together, and these 2 would have to stay together. So unless I'm joining one with 2, so example, if I'm joining a motif to this and this, I can't use these 2 because that one's by itself. I have to keep these 2 together. And I know that I don't ever have 3 together. You're never joining 3 together. You're either joining 2 or you're joining 1. So I can't take all 3 of these. Those won't be able to join, which means this one is going to be by itself and these 2 together. So, for example, let's see, now I'm wanting to put one in here. And so now I say, okay, so this is my very first one, because I'm looking at this thinking, oh, where am I joining this? Am I going to join it with these 2, because those 2 with a 3, or am I going to only join it with the 1 to come in here? Well, that's going to depend too on this one. So we figured out with this one we're using these 2, okay, and I can't use all 3 of these, so which means I have to use this one. So which means if I'm using this one, I'd have to use these 2, and that would work. So then these are the ones that get joined. So that's how I'm going to join this very first one. And you could look at your other motifs above as well, and you can kind of see which ones you join to which. And this is the only part that's really hard, is knowing which ones. But if you stay with that concept, these two have to stick together and these two have to stay together. So that doesn't leave you too much else to play with. So if I'm joining on this, I have to use this one. I can't use these two because then I'm going to have a problem. So they stay together, so I have to use this one. So if I'm joining on this one, those two have to stay together, so I can join this one. And then on this one, so I'd say, okay, well, how many on these do I join? Well, those two, there's three, these two have to stay together. So I'd be joining those. So that's pretty simple coming this way. I'm going to show you another scenario. As I get to another one, I'll show you, because they're not as simple as this one always. So anyway, I know enough. So this is the real bottom, this is my back, and this is my next one that I'm having to join. So I know that those three give me this and these three. So three there, which means these two have to stay together. So if I'm joining on here, I could only join on those two with this one. But that's not what I'm doing for this one. I'm just going to use this one because I need to attach it to this and to this, because it's not a lone ranger. And you can see your bottom ones, one is slightly higher than the other one. On my bottom, this is lower and this is higher, this is lower. So this one I know is got to be a little higher than this anyway. So saying all that, I will show you some more of those because it's a little tricky. So to add your front side ones, I know I've got to use this one and then I've got to use those two. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine on, and as I come to another situation where it looks a little bit tricky, I'll show you again. But if you can just remember that concept of what I told you with the 2 and the 3, then you're not going to have a problem. You should be able to join yours in any situation. And as I say, I'm going to join mine. I've got a bunch. I'm going to join this one, and then we'll look at this one and we'll see if we can see how we're supposed to join our other one for the front, the second one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when I see I come up with another situation, and it'll probably be at the top here where we're going to have to figure out which ones we're joining. I will show you how to do that again as well, but just remember the main concept of what I was showing you here. Alright, so now if we look, I've put this one on, and now you can look at this and say, okay, now which do I use? Once again, you use that same concept. Well, this one is easy. You can see that you got to use this one. But it's like with these two, okay, what would I be using here? So all that you do is, once again, you just see, okay, I've got 2 over here, and I've got to have 3 in between, and then here are my other 2. So I know with this one coming in here, I'm going to be dealing with these 3. So I can scrap those, and now I'm going to be using with these 3. But am I using these 2? Am I just using 1? What am I using? So hold on to those. Now see, I know I'll be using this one. So it's these 3, and then I'll be using this one. Then for this one, there's the 2, and then I have to have 3 on the side. So if there's 2 there, I would have had 3 here. So you still work it out like that, even though I've used 2. Or you can do it 2, and then the 3 are over here, because they're 2, and then that would be those 3. So I know that I'm working with these 3. Okay, so I have to think now. So I know that I'm working with these 3, and I'm working with these 3, and I know I've only got 1 that I'm working with here. So if I'm working with this 1, I know that I'm going to have to work with these 2. Okay, because it wouldn't just be 1. Alright, so the other thing that I'm wanting you to be aware of with this is all your joining. There's a pattern with the way these are joined. It's 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. Now it doesn't matter where you start, this is the pattern. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. Well, I mean, I suppose you could just stick to 2, 2, 1. that's how this thing is joined. So in other words, 2, 2, 1 gets joined, 2, 2, 1 gets joined. And if you see 1, and you can reverse it, 1. So if you had to start at 1, you'd have 2, 2, 1. So it doesn't matter where you start. So you need to remember this as well. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. That's how our join is as well. So in other words, I'm looking at this one to join in here. And like I said, you know that this one has to be joined because that's by itself. And if you looked at this lot, you had 2 joined there. So this would be 3. So I know that these 2 have to be joined. And then you can also look at your pattern. Is it 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. So I know that that's correct for there and there. Now on this one, now you look at this one and you say, okay, there's 2 there. These 3 are over here. And they're the other 2. So I'm dealing with these 3. So if I stick to my pattern, there's a 1. So I know after the 1, it's a 2. So 1, 2, 2, 1. 2, 2, 1. So I know that I'm dealing with these 2. Now it sounds very complicated, but it's really not. If you stick to those rules of what I showed you, 2, 2, 1 with your motif, and where you have your 2 and 3 over there, you should be right. If you're unsure, just re-watch what I've shown you and until you understand the concept. Then you should be able to join any one of your motifs. Doesn't matter where they are. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in, and then I'll meet you back here.